aligns with my values of being responsible for nature. It is vital for me to ensure a green and great Mother Earth for all generations. I'm inspired to support the movement because I see the impact it has on individuals all around the world. With my 10 million tree planting project adding more impact to it. Earth Hour is important because it allows us to work towards achieving better resources for nature. Tourism and agriculture are the backbones for Tanzania's economy, and they're also nature-based. So if you don't stop climate change now, these sectors will collapse. I believe in the power of unity and that the climate crisis is a matter of urgency.
I'm Renee Noor, model, creative director, founder of Global Women Wealth Warriors, Wellness Hub, and GW3 Magazine. I dedicated my life and devoted my career into helping women and girls to achieving their goals. I've been passionate about empowering women and enriching men. This opportunity in working with the Global Women Wealth Warriors have afforded me the pleasure of traveling outside of the country to be a support unit, most importantly, to help impact and change lives. Our ultimate purpose is to help others to become whole from finance, spiritual, mental, as well as physical. We know there are challenges and obstacles to get you to the next level. However, it's time for you to level up, boss up, and welcome to Power to Soar. And we are here, GW3 Live, super excited to be not only welcoming you to an incredible session this evening, looking forward to also speaking to one of the amazing gents I had the pleasure of meeting in 2012. Mr. Robby Wells. Let's go ahead on and welcome not only Mr. Robby Wells. Mr. Robby Wells is known as a life coach, a football coach, alongside with a man that's always making transition throughout, making impact, and most importantly, you truly are a friend, Robby Wells. I want to say that you're a friend, and wonderful what the great work you've been doing over there in North Carolina. But I'd like to let the viewers know I had the pleasure of meeting you in 2012 when you literally were running for president of the United States. So how are you doing today, Robby?
Renee, I'm doing great, and it's truly a pleasure, always a pleasure to be able to come and spend a little time talking with you and the group that you work with the women. So this is just really a great opportunity, and it's always good to be able to catch up with you, find out what's going on with your daughter, because I know that she's got that sports background too, and she and I are just kind of like the sports guys and ladies.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, usually what I do with our GW3 live shows before we jump right out into our conversations, we always love for the viewers to we always love for the guests to always introduce themselves. And I'm going to give you that opportunity to let everybody know who you are. Robby, take it away, please.
Okay. So I'm Robby Wells. For 20 years, I was a college football coached at the University of South Carolina in the SEC. Was with Lou Holtz, who was the head coach at the time, living legend. Then went down to South Carolina State, historically black college, as their defensive coordinator in the MEAC. And from there, I was actually made history, being named the very first white head football coach at a historically black Division I school, HBCU, which was Savannah State in Savannah, Georgia. So, I had a great career, about 20 years, as I said, coaching, and was adopted as an infant by a minister and his wife in the state of Georgia. And my father not only was a minister, but he was also into politics and worked with one of our former presidents, which was Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was then the governor of Georgia when my father sat on some committees there overseeing the special needs kids in the state of Georgia. And my father went on to help Jimmy Carter run for and become president of the United States back when I was just an 8-year-old kid. And I remember just a couple of days before the election, I was playing with Amy, his daughter, right there in in Plains. We're just little kids, just running around playing. And Jimmy came in. He should have been out campaigning, but he was there. And I remember looking up at him going, "You're going to be the president of the United States." And he looked down at me and he says, "One day you will be too." And when somebody says something like that to you and they go on to be the president, it kind of puts a stamp of inspiration on you, and it did me. So here I am years later, and I have run a couple of times for president. I'm also the U.S. ambassador for the International Human Rights Peace Commission through the UN, and I've spoken all over the world about human rights, about world peace, how I believe that we can achieve that. I'm also a foreign news correspondent with several television news networks in Eastern Europe and Northern Asia. So that's been a challenge, but a lot of fun too. And just recently, Renee, an author with my book, Touchdown America.
Whoa!
So I'm pretty excited about all this. Yeah, we've got a lot of good stuff going on.
You've been busy. I love it. I absolutely love it. Guys, put hearts up in the chat. Talking about leadership, Robby, you truly have been not only setting those stages on fire, but you have definitely been able to pour right back into our future leaders and just making that global impact. And that's so important. Again, it was such an honor to work with you, even in, when you were running for a campaign, and it was just always great energy. And here it is now, you had an opportunity as well, being a part of our Power to Soar Leadership Conference right there at
Yes.
Chateau and, we were able to give you a Lifetime Achievement Award. And now we are looking forward to Las Vegas, having you as one of our incredible speakers also. Tell me this, Robby, how do you do it? Not only have you been a coach, everybody knows you as Coach Wells. Okay, I love that. And that's something that you and Jazzy, my daughter, have something great in common alongside the sports space. You also say that leadership is not just about a title, but it's more about the impact. And how did your journey shape not only your journey of being able to not only transform lives, but how did your journey, how did you decide to get into the space, leaving from coaching, your youth to now, I like to say you're a coach of the world, speaking on these stages. How did you, what was your passion? What drove you to do that?
Well, again, Renee, it goes back to when I was just a little kid, and that stamp of inspiration that was put on me when Jimmy Carter looked down and spoke those words over me that one day I would be the president too.
Yes.
So I've always been a news junkie since then, basically studying what's going on, not only in the United States, but around the world, so that I can keep up with what's going on. And at the same time, as I've gotten a little bit older, developed some ideas that I believe that can make this world a better place, not only the United States, but really the entire world. So that's what I've been out here doing and talking about. But, true leaders today, or the ones that are in leadership positions, it seems like they're trying to lead from polls, which means they kind of want to get the pulse of people before they do anything. But I've always believed that you lead with conviction and you lead from the front. And if you are truly a representative of the people and lead from the front and you're actually doing it yourself, people will follow you. If you got a good heart and you're doing things the right way and for the right reason, then people will follow. And that's what we've been doing. Can't hear you.
I like to say also, Robby, it's not just only about followers, but it's important as a leader too to identify and help others to become leaders. And to
Exactly.
me, that's like a true characteristic that you've been able to do. I feel as if that you've been able to stand in your power. You've been able to stand in your power in that space. And that really says so much about what it is you do with the consistency of being very authentic to your mission. I'll ask this question, and I want to say thank you so much, for being a veteran, an author. A lot of people don't know that you're a veteran as well, and being able to embrace not only our young men, but also the leaders. And they always say, too much is given, much is also required, right? So
Right.
tell me this, Robby, with this path, how do we see you within the next 3 to 5 years? What's some of the things that you're so ready to just engulf into? Please share.
Well, we do have some major problems in this country, and I believe that we need some serious-minded people that are going to step forward. Of course, being in education and sports for over 20 years, education is my passion. So I do have a plan that I would like to see implemented, and this plan will improve our educational system and get us back up into line with the top tier education nations in the world. Right now, we rank 36 in the world in education, which, in my humble opinion, is not very good when there's over 200 sovereign nations in the world. So we need to be in the top five. And in order to do that, we need to be educating our young people at a younger age to a later age. I stand up and jumping up and down on the table that we need to have universal child care so that we can start educating our kids at a younger age and have free college tuition all the way to a bachelor's degree. And I know how we're going to pay for it. I know exactly how we're going to do all that. I know how we're going to raise teacher pay. But then at the same time, I'd like to see our teachers be able to get back to teaching the curriculum. A lot of the public schools these days, it seems like they've gotten out of hand with a lack of discipline per se. And then you've got the school shootings. It seems like that's almost a pandemic within itself here in the United States these days. And I did come up with a plan that will 100% eliminate gun violence in schools across every school in this country. We can do that. My plan is called Vets for Kids. We take our veterans, which I am a veteran, and the veterans are dear to my heart. Take our veterans, screen them, train them, put them back to work in every school across this country as guardians for our children. Let's protect our kids. This will also protect everyone's Second Amendment right. But at the same time, it's going to employ about 500,000 veterans. And who better to take care of our kids than our veterans? They've already taken an oath to protect the people of the United States. So I think it's about time that we start giving back to our veterans. And this would be a great way to do it.
Absolutely love your philosophy and truly those principles that we can cultivate. And I know for sure, for especially women, alongside with the veterans and men, but combination, we have to just get back to, I think, loving humanity. I think that's something
Right.
that's so important. I think we've lost it over one moment after the other. So we just have to get back to doing that. I love the fact you've always been you had so much courage in just speaking about those things that need to take place here within the government. And that's one thing, even with Mr. John Lewis, as his last days, he says he's taken us as far as he can go. So now it's time for us to do our part. It's time for every person to stand up, utilize their voices, so therefore they can take ownership in the next generation, take ownership in the next wave. And I'll ask you this question, Robby. If you have the opportunity right now with the next generation that they're watching this show as it speaks right now, I'd like for you to tell me what's one powerful principle that you would not only pour into our young people, but also can help them internalize about the greatness that they were given with their
Well,
own gifts.
there is, Renee, there's greatness within each and every one of us that is God given from above. And I tell young people this all the time. 90% of winning is just showing up, being in the right place at the right time. The other 10% is your attitude. You show up with a great attitude, you got a 100% chance of winning and being successful in life. Does that mean that you're always going to get a yes when you apply for a job? Of course not. It does not. But those no's are actually winning. Every time you get a no, that's winning because it gets you close to the one that's going to say yes. So I tell young people this today because in this weak, watered down, mediocre society that we live in today, if you take a young person in this generation right now that will work extremely hard, they will set themselves apart from the entire pack because everybody else is just sitting there and expecting everybody else to do it for them. So if you will just, the young people will just rise up, and this is where my campaign slogan has always been, rise up to the occasion. Work to make yourself better every day, just 1% better every day at whatever it is, whether it's a relationship or whether it's your business, a sports team, politics, whatever the case may be, your charitable organization, your church. Get 1% better every day, and look how much better you will be at the end of just 1 month. And here's another thing I tell people. Okay, the average person works a 40-hour work week. Now, if you think about that, they work 40 hours in the week, but there's about 160 hours. So that therefore only 25% of the time you're working. Well, think about this. If you start working when you're 22 and you finish up when you're 54, being productive, you're looking at about 32 years. But if only 25% of that is actually productive when you're actually working, you really only work 8 years of your life on a 40-hour work week. Okay, so ask yourself, is that going to set me apart just working 8 hours my entire life, being productive at 8 hours? And maybe even less than that if you've got one of those office jobs and you play on the internet half the day instead of actually working. So if you think about that, how productive are you really being? And what are you really doing to go after your dreams, go after your goals? I had a young person come up to me last year at a national convention down in Miami that I spoke at. And this young man said, Robby, I would like to be a millionaire by the time I'm 30 and a billionaire by the time I'm 40. Can you give me some advice? I said, sure, glad to. I said, so if you want to be a billionaire by the time you're 40, you need to get up at 4 o'clock every morning. You need to go work out. You need to pray. You need to read. Whatever it is that you're reading, you need to listen to motivational speakers. You need to be in the office by 8:30 every morning after you've already gotten up and worked out. Work a full day, come home, get something to eat, and then work till about 11 or 12 o'clock at night. Sleep for about 4 hours, get up, do the same thing the next day. This young man says, well, I can't do that. He says, I don't get up early in the morning. I said, well, you just said that it was your dream to be a billionaire. He said, yeah, it is my dream. I said, well, just go on back to sleep and keep on dreaming. Mm-hmm. So literally, if you want to have what others don't have, you got to be willing to do what others don't do. That's what I tell people, especially young people. If you want what others don't have, if you want to set yourself apart, you got to be willing to do what others don't do. And you've got to figure that out in your career path, what it is that can set you apart from everybody else.
I love it. You got to do what not what everyone else want to do. You got to do that uncomfortable. You have to get uncomfortable in order for you to really find yourself. I think that's sort of like that breakthrough also. When you think about it, Robby, and thank you for those words of encouragement for our young leaders that's watching. When you think about it and you look back even on your biggest challenge, what tried to break you? I want to know that. And I know others want to know that too, because right now we're dealing with so much in the world. Mental health awareness is like at its all-time high right now. And I want to know not only what tried to break you, but more importantly, how did you turn that around into your own platform?
Well, I've had several things, and that's one thing I'll tell you, Renee, and everybody listening tonight about life. Life has its ups, life has its downs. There are mountaintop experiences and there are deep valleys. And I've been in both places. And I call those dark moments midnight experiences. Okay, that's the darkest part of any day. And we've all had those midnight experiences. The loss of a job. Oh, I've been there several times. The loss of a loved one. I've been there several times. Being broke. Been there too. The loss of a home or whatever. But anyway, that's the midnight experiences that we all will go through if you live long enough. But here's the cool thing about midnight. Renee, midnight doesn't last very long because at 12:01 it's morning. It's time to rise up.
Yeah.
So I've always looked at it as this. Yeah, I may be going through a midnight experience right now. Okay, it may be uncomfortable, and I've had several. When I was let go at Savannah State, that was uncomfortable. It hurt. Okay, but it was just a short period of time, and I've got to look at myself. If I'm going to be a winner, see, being a champion, being a winner is not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can take a hit and keep moving forward. How hard of a blow you can withstand and keep moving forward. That's what winning is, and that's what becoming a champion is.
I love it. Oh my goodness, you are giving all kinds of great points there, Robby. It's just really that discipline. Sometimes we just have to be so disciplined, as you were speaking about the young leader, how he wants it. Sometimes we want sometimes we want the shiny objects, but we don't really want to do the work that it takes in order for us to get there. And I like the fact that not only your coach Wells, you got it down to a science of reaching success, because you've been able to win many championships there in North Carolina. You've been able to, I said North Carolina, South Carolina. Let me
That's right.
correct myself, South Carolina. You've also been able to just accomplish with so much. And I'll say this just because people don't understand, there's a playbook to it, right? That leadership playbook. And you have to follow the rules. And even having to follow the rules, I always say sometimes, I love what you said. At 12 midnight, 12:01, it give you an opportunity to hit the reset button to
Right.
start all over again if you have to do that. And so I'll ask this question. This is my last question for you. When you hit that reset button, what is your first play? What would be your first play? I'm hitting that reset button.
I hit that reset button, and the first play is hitting my knees and saying a prayer. That is the first play.
Absolutely. Oh, that right there, that's a drop mic moment right there. Ping! That is
I
so
didn't
important.
even have to think about it because I've been
No.
there so many times.
Mhm.
And you know, we all see people that are successful, and a lot of times we'll sit there and we'll say, oh, didn't things just work out for this person? Didn't everything just fall into place? But you know what, Renee, you and I have been around long enough to know that they worked their tail off to get exactly what they
They
got.
have no
They
idea
had
what we
no
have to go
idea.
through.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep. And the
no
reset
idea.
button that they had to hit. And I've
That's
had to
right.
hit it several times. So
Yes.
without a doubt and without hesitation, I'll say hit my knees and pray.
Well, you know what I say? I don't know, not only getting down on our knees and pray throughout the day, pray just because, just utilize the center of prayer in everything that you do, in
Right.
everything that you do. Well, you know what? Not only we're unlocking and we're unleashing there in Las Vegas, we're looking forward to you being a part of the Power to Soar. This is GW3 official launch. That's right. We're officially launching there in Las Vegas. And what an honor. You were right with us, like I said, 2 years ago. And now, full circle, we're going to be coming back together with some of the other incredible leaders. And you know what, Robby? As an author, make sure you bring some of those books as well.
I
I'm
will.
sure they would love to get a copy of your amazing story. So, therefore, they can continue on living through you, because I think the way we live is based upon the stories that we tell.
Let me tell you this that we're doing too. Okay. And I'm thinking about doing this. If we run again, this is one thing that we're going to do instead of asking for donations or whatnot. And instead of making people pay for t-shirts, hats, and books and stuff like that, I'm telling people, because you're all about empowerment too, empower yourself. And we're going to help you do that. Empower yourself, protect your family with a little bit of life insurance. And if you will do that, I'm going to give you the book, the hat, the shirt for free. Okay. And then if I decide I'm going to run, we'll fund our own campaign doing that. If we get enough people across the country that do that, we'll make a decision late next year whether we're going to run or not.
I love that. Where there you have it, from the man himself, all the way from South Carolina, the coach who's coached so many lives, the veterans, the author. And you know what? I think he's spoken to over half of the people in the world, because I've seen you on many stages over there, from Japan, alongside with even you're right here, even in Atlanta. You've been on many stages doing it big. We're so excited. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your courage. But most importantly, thank you for being true and staying true to your calling. Thank
Well,
you.
Renee, I want to thank you too, because you have been a great friend for all these years, literally for 13 years now. And I want to thank you for being true with everything that you do with the women, and your sense of philanthropy around the world. That's really, really amazing. And my hat's off to you.
Well, thank you. Well, we'll be saluting and celebrating each other. We'll have several other our veterans that will be joining us there in Las Vegas, and I'm super excited about the opportunities that comes from bringing these incredible relationships together. Well, Robby, thank you for joining us here with the GW3 Live. It has been an honor. And as all of our viewers know, we like to roll our shoulders back. We put our heads up high. Not only is it time for us to go blaze the universe, we have to remember not only we're the chosen ones. And since we are the chosen ones, we know we have work to do. So, guys, not only is it important for us to rise up, okay, and soar. That's right. We got to stretch ourselves for this 2025. So therefore we can be everything that our God has destined us to become, while we're pulling our sisters and our brothers up. And also we're raising ourselves, being pulled up by those who've been able to lead the way as well. So we look forward to seeing you in Las Vegas, August the 21st through the 24th. Robby Wells, thank you. It's always an honor to have you here with us on our platform.
Well, the honor's all mine, Renee, and I look forward to seeing everybody out in Vegas in just a couple of weeks.
That's right. Be here before you know it. Bye for now.